The first thing I learned about corporate life is that the higher the salary, the lower the manners. I learned that at 6:12 a.m. on a Monday, with a mop in my hands and a bucket that smelled like lemon and overtime. My name is Ray Mercer. I clean the upper floors of Glassline Tower, a building with a lobby fountain and the warmth of a freezer aisle. The main tenant is Lumen Ward Systems, a software company that talks about innovation while leaving sticky breakfast plates for someone else to handle. That morning, I was polishing the marble outside the executive elevator after a catered event called the Velocity Breakfast. The elevator doors slid open and a small parade stepped out. Assistants with tablets, employees with badges, and the new vice president of operations, Grant Halley. I had seen his welcome email on the lobby screen. Smile like toothpaste. Promises that always seem to land on the backs of people who carry mop buckets. Grant saw me and stopped. "Well, look at that," he said, loud enough for the lobby to hear. "The boomer janitor is still here. I am 57. I kept my face neutral. "Good morning, sir," I said. Grant took a sip of coffee from a cup that said Lumen Ward Leaders Club. He looked at the floor, then at me, like I was the thing out of place. "You missed a spot," he said. The marble was shining. I could see my tired face in it. I could also see the employees behind him slowing down, watching, pretending they were not watching. "I will get it," I said. Grant stepped closer. He tilted his cup, then flicked his wrist. Hot coffee splashed across my shirt and forearm. It soaked into my uniform and stung through the fabric. The fountain kept bubbling like it had a contract not to react. "There," Grant said, smiling. "Now do your job and clean it up." A few people gasped. Most looked away fast. One young man stared at his shoes. A woman with a laptop bag walked around me like I was a spill, not a person. I held the mop handle tight. Anger rose, then settled into something colder. "Yes, sir," I said, because surviving the moment mattered more than winning it. Grant pointed at the carpet. "Do not drip on the tiles. Those are expensive." Then he disappeared into the executive elevator. The doors closed softly, polite as a slap. The lobby scattered back into motion. Everyone had a meeting. Nobody had a spine, except Maya at reception. She leaned toward me, voice low. "Ray, are you okay?" I looked at my arm. Red patches were rising. "I will live," I said. Maya flicked her eyes toward the ceiling cameras. "He did that on camera," she whispered. "Security keeps footage for 30 days. I nodded, wiping coffee off marble that was already clean. Cameras meant proof, and proof meant options. I pushed my cart toward the service hallway to swap shirts. On my way, I passed conference room Orion. The door was cracked open. Inside were empty trays and printed slides left behind like confetti. A thick folder sat on the table, half covered by branded notebooks. I should have left it. I was a janitor, not a consultant. But Grant had just made me part of his morning entertainment, and the whole building had watched. I stepped in, picked up the folder, and read the cover. Lumen Ward Systems, Vendor Consolidation Plan, Confidential. I flipped one page. Advisory fees, names, amounts. Grant Halley was on the list. Next to his name was a number big enough to buy 1,000 coffees. My hand stopped shaking. Grant was not just cruel. Grant was sloppy. By 7 a.m., the coffee on my uniform had dried into a stiff brown stain, like a badge I did not ask for. I finished my route anyway. Bathrooms, glass doors, conference rooms with star names, as if fancy labels make disrespect smell better. What changed was the way people looked at me. On floor 29, 2 analysts stared at their monitors and whispered like the air had microphones. That was Grant, right? Yeah. New vice president. He is intense. Intense was the word they used for a man who threw hot coffee on someone doing his job. Most people did the corporate shuffle after that. They looked away fast, then moved on. A few offered small kindnesses that cost them nothing. A cup of water. A quiet, "That was not okay." Then they vanished back into meetings because injustice is easier to tolerate when it is scheduled for someone else. Maya at reception was different. She found me near the freight elevator and handed me a tube of burn gel. "For your arm," she said. "Also, I checked the lobby camera grid. The cameras are real, but you cannot request footage without a report." "A report," I repeated. "To who?" She made a face. "Human resources." I told her about the folder I found in conference room Orion. I did not hand it over, just showed the cover and the first page with names and numbers. Her eyes widened when she saw Grant on the list under advisory fees. "That is not normal," she whispered. "Those payments should not be in a breakfast folder." That night I worked the late shift, the quiet hours when Glassline Tower turns into a museum of glowing screens and tired people. Lumen Ward had just announced record earnings for the year. You would never know it from the tension in the hallways. Everyone was bracing for cuts. Grant was touring departments all week, smiling while he talked about efficiency. The word on the floors was simple: fewer people, same workload, more fear. Around 10:20 p.m., I rolled my cart past a glass conference room. The door was not fully shut. I heard Grant's voice first, bright and smug. "We are cutting the building crew too. Night cleaning is a luxury." Another voice answered, calm but strained. "That will break compliance. Client audits require sanitation logs." I recognized the second voice. Elliot Rios, a compliance analyst who stayed late enough that I had seen him drink vending machine coffee like it was punishment. Grant laughed. "Audits love paper, not soap. We will automate the logs. It will be fine." Elliot said, "You cannot do that and still claim we meet standards." Grant lowered his voice, but the glass carried it anyway. "I have a vendor ready. Sparkle Sweep Facilities. Half the cost. Flexible. No union noise. No boomer janitors taking up hallway space." My grip tightened on the cart handle. Elliot asked, "Are they vetted?" Grant said, "I vetted them." Then Elliot said, "You cannot put your cousin name on the paperwork and call it an efficiency upgrade." There was a beat of silence, like the building held its breath. Grant's voice turned syrupy. "Careful, Elliot. That sounds like an accusation." Elliot answered, "It sounds like a fact." I backed my cart away, slow and quiet, and pulled out my phone. Not to play detective with shaky recordings. I opened my notes and wrote everything down: time, floor, names, and the vendor. People leave their secrets out like trash. All you have to do is pick it up. A minute later, the conference room door opened. Elliot walked out first. He saw the coffee stain on my sleeve and did not pretend he missed it. "Did he do that to you?" Elliot asked. I nodded. Elliot looked down the hall where Grant was heading toward the elevator, still laughing. "Meet me by the loading dock after your shift," Elliot said. "Bring that folder." Then he added, softer, "If you make a report, make it to the right place. Human Resources is not the right place." Elliot met me at the loading dock where Glassline Tower smells like diesel instead of perfume. I handed him the folder in a trash bag. He flipped pages fast. Advisory fees, vendor steering, a bonus tied to headcount reduction. "He is squeezing people to pay himself," Elliot said. I told him about the coffee and the cameras. Elliot did not look surprised. "Lobby assault is liability," he said. "But this folder is the lever. Use the ethics hotline, not Human Resources. The hotline routes to the audit committee. Human Resources will try to polish this like it is a smudge." He wrote the hotline address and code on a scrap of paper. "One rule, Ray. If he fires you after you report, that is retaliation. Do not sign anything. Save everything." The next morning, Grant made sure the lobby got a sequel. He arrived with a cluster of staff behind him, like he wanted witnesses. He pointed at me and said it again. "The boomer janitor." Some people laughed because he was watching. Most people stared at their phones. Grant turned to me and asked if I even knew how to buff marble. Then he tipped his coffee cup on purpose. Coffee poured onto the floor and slid toward the carpet. "Clean it up," he said. "These tiles are expensive." A phone camera clicked behind me. Someone was recording. I did not look back. I cleaned the spill. Not because I agreed with him, because I was saving my energy for the part that mattered. As I worked, I felt the eyes on my back. A woman in accounting mouthed sorry. Maya handed a client a badge and did not smile. Even the security guard kept staring at the ceiling, like looking at me would make him complicit. Grant watched long enough to feel powerful, then strolled to the elevator with lazy confidence. After the ethics report, I waited for fear to hit. Instead, I felt quiet, like a decision had already been made. When the guards escorted me out, Maya met my eyes for a second and nodded toward the cameras, a reminder that truth was still recorded somewhere above us. At the lobby doors, one guard lowered his voice. "Ray," he said, "keep your paperwork. Do not let them bury this." Outside, the city air was cold. I opened my phone and searched for one thing: employment attorney near me. Inside the elevator, my phone buzzed with an email. Ethics intake confirmation. Time stamped. Logged. Grant had fired me fast. Not fast enough. Because now the complaint existed, attached to his name. And I was done cleaning up his mess. Next, I was going to make him pay for it. Dana Kim office was above a nail salon. No fountains, no mission statements. Just a receptionist who treated me like a person and a chair that squeaked when I sat. Dana shook my hand, glanced at the burn on my forearm, and went straight to business. "Tell me what happened," she said. I told her everything. The boomer janitor insult, the coffee, the second spill, the folder with grant name next to advisory fees, the vendor conversation about Sparkle Sweep, the ethics report confirmation, the termination page with no cause. Dana read my notes and photos in silence. When she reached the money pages, she tapped the paper once. "This is not just harassment," she said. "This is leverage. Companies panic when evidence and embarrassment share an elevator." She asked about cameras. I told her the lobby was covered. "Good," Dana said. "First, we send a preservation letter. If they delete footage after notice, that turns a bad situation into a disaster." That afternoon, she drafted a demand letter. Clean, factual, dates, times, witnesses, medical note for the burn, a request for lobby footage, my termination communications, and procurement files connected to Sparkle Sweep and Grant. She emailed it to Lumen Ward Legal Counsel and copied the cleaning contractor. Then she looked at me. "Do not take calls alone," she said. "If they want to talk, they talk through me." By the next morning, the building started to shake. Maya texted me from a new number. "They are whispering your name on every floor." Elliot wrote too. "Audit committee called an emergency review. Grant is furious." My phone lit up with unknown numbers. Human resources, facilities, contractor management. I did not answer. Dana told me to let them stew. Then an email arrived from Lumen Ward Legal. "We would like to resolve this amicably. Please come in to discuss." Dana replied for me in minutes. "Any discussion will be in writing or in the presence of counsel." 2 hours later, they sent an attachment labeled Separation Agreement, a small payment, a blanket release of claims, a confidentiality clause that would gag me tighter than any mop rag. Dana called. "They are testing you," she said. "They want to buy your silence cheap." "I will not sell it," I said. "Good," Dana answered. "They just confirmed in writing that the lobby cameras exist. That means the footage exists. Your story has teeth." Dana sent a second letter, sharper, and included a word that made my stomach turn. Discovery. It meant their internal emails would become evidence. It meant the jokes and threats and shortcuts would crawl into daylight. It meant executives would start losing sleep. Dana also filed a retaliation charge with the right agency and sent a copy to Lumen Ward Counsel. Within hours, the tone changed. My phone stopped ringing and started pinging. 2 employees I barely knew messaged me to say they saw the coffee and they would testify. One wrote, "I am sorry I did nothing. I will do something now." That evening, my phone buzzed with a blocked call. I ignored it. Then a text arrived. "You think you are clever. You are just a janitor. Drop this. No signature, no name." But I could hear Grant's voice in every word. I screenshot it and sent it to Dana. She responded with a single line. "He just bought you a bigger settlement." The next day, Lumen Ward requested mediation, and that night, walking back to my car after groceries, I saw Grant Halley near the parking lot entrance, suit crisp, coffee cup in hand, like a prop. "We need to talk," he said, smiling like the lobby never happened. I lifted my phone, thumb on record. "We can," I said. "Say it clearly." His smile faltered. For the first time since he called me a boomer janitor, the vice president looked unsure of the floor beneath him. Mediation took place in a conference center that looked like it had been designed by someone who hated color. Beige walls, beige carpet, beige water pitchers. The kind of neutral setting where companies hope your anger gets bored and leaves. Dana sat beside me with a folder thick enough to stop a door. Across the table sat 2 Lumen Ward lawyers, 1 contractor representative, and a human resources manager who kept saying, "We value respect," while avoiding eye contact. "No Grant," Dana said, glancing at the empty chair. "Interesting." The lead lawyer cleared his throat. "Mr. Mercer, we regret any discomfort you experienced in the lobby." "Discomfort," I repeated, like a paper cut. Dana slid a photo across the table, my arm, red and blistered. Then another photo, the second coffee spill, then a screenshot of the text message telling me to drop it. Dana spoke without raising her voice. "My client was terminated with no cause after submitting an ethics report. That is retaliation. He was assaulted on camera. That is liability. And he provided documents indicating vendor steering. Your board will not enjoy discovery." The human resources manager swallowed. "Grant Halley is on administrative leave pending investigation," he said. Dana nodded. Then she laid out terms. Medical bills covered, termination coded as without cause, neutral reference, written apology, and a payment that matched the harm. She added one more point. Any vendor decision tied to Sparkle Sweep is suspended pending audit. The lead lawyer tried to protest. Dana slid the folder closer. "If you want this private, you pay for private," she said. They asked for a break. When they returned, their number had grown. Dana countered. They countered again. By late afternoon, the agreement was done. Lumen Ward paid. The contractor paid. My medical costs were covered. My record was cleared. The lobby footage was preserved and copied to my file. They did not contest unemployment. They insisted on confidentiality about the settlement amount. Dana insisted I could still describe what happened. Dana won. 2 days later, Maya sent me a video from the glass line lobby. Grant Halley stepped out of the executive elevator with corporate security on both sides. He held a cardboard box with a desk plant and a framed photo, the classic symbol of consequences arriving without warning. Employees watched from the coffee bar. Some pretended to be busy. Some did not pretend at all. One person clapped once, then stopped, like they remembered the handbook. Maya's voice whispered behind the camera. "They are walking him out, right in front of everyone." Grant's face was pale. His smile was gone. When he passed the spot where he poured coffee on me, he flinched, just a tiny twitch, like the marble itself had a memory. Elliot texted later. "Audit committee found the Sparkle Sweep connection. Procurement is being audited. Grant resigned before the vote." A week after that, Lumen Ward quietly offered me my assignment back, like a peace offering. I said no. I had spent years cleaning up other people's messes. I wanted something that belonged to me. With the settlement, I bought better equipment and registered my own small cleaning service. Nothing fancy, just honest work, fair pay, and one rule. Every person in the building gets treated like a person. Sometimes I pass Glassline Tower on my way to a job. The fountain still bubbles. The marble still shines. People still pretend power has no consequences. And some people remember. But I know better. Because the day a vice president called me a boomer janitor and tried to humiliate me with coffee, he forgot one simple fact. The people you step over are the people who see everything you drop.